I grew up in a very typical nominal Christian home. Like, we would go to church sporadically. Like, my brother and I would get dropped off for Sunday school, and we grew up in a Methodist church. I had never heard the gospel. Christ was not a big part of my upbringing. It was ball and school, and that's what we did. As we got older, I was about 12 years old, and one of my friends, who was probably one of the more popular kids in school, asked me to go to a revival with him. I didn't even know what that was. I went to this revival with him, and that was the night I heard the gospel for the first time. You know, it was one of those moments where you feel like he's talking right to you. And I knew that I was dead in my trespasses. I knew that I had no hope for heaven without Christ, and I accepted him that night. Still lost in my ability to walk. There's no guidance, still 12 years old, and the only thing I know how to do is I need to read my Bible more. But I did know that I needed to start trying to follow after Jesus. Fast forward, I still have the same friends. They're getting wilder. They're getting more into stuff that's I am not going to partake in. And I found myself more and more alone on the weekends, to the point where I felt like I didn't have any friends by the time I was a junior in high school. And I was teammates with these guys. They talk about what they're going to go do, you know, but I was never included in their plans at that point, which was really hard for a 17-year-old kid. And then I had a buddy who was a long lost friend that I had grown up with, and I had pretty much just thrown to the side. Invited me to this organization called K-Life. The directors really kind of took me in and really started pouring into me. It's the first time I ever really learned how to walk with Christ. I have a spouse who has a phenomenal faith, and I'm not comparing myself to her, but when we first got married, trying to lead a spouse that is so much more mature in her faith than I was, and probably still is the case, but trying to lead someone that's so much farther in their faith than you is tough. I can't ever get complacent in my walk with Christ, because I can't lead Becca if I am not pursuing after him wholeheartedly. I'm not perfect at it. I'm just like every 40-something-year-old dad out there. I'm stretched between coaching, work, dad life, husband life, everything like that. You're just thin at this point. And I think there's a lot of times I try to do it all on my own. And I think the Lord has to constantly say, okay, Clint, you're trying to do this life all by yourself, all alone. You're trying to control everything. And that's not how this works. You have to let me lead. I have to be your everything, Clint. You can't have a piece of this. It's either you're all with me or you're not with me at all. We're really excited to be here. We really are. And this has been a long walk to get here. We've been in the Army for 9 years, and even before that, we've moved half a dozen times, and we've been in a lot of different churches because we've been all over the map, and church membership is not something we take lightly. We are all in here. We're moving into the community because we love this area so much, and we want to be deeply involved. We're looking for church family. We're not looking for church associates. We want to be here. We want to be very involved. You're welcoming us and our rowdy family into the fold has been just such a blessing, and it's made us feel very welcome, and we're really excited to dive in.